Alright, let's get started on the M's. Number 102 on our list is machli ki rani hai, which basically just means the fish is the queen of the water or something like that. I don't know. It's like a Indian lullaby for little wee babes, and then they put it as a horror movie title because that's scary, I guess. Well, it's a bit scarier than the Bye Bye Man, that's for sure. This felt like an 80s B movie but made like 5 years ago, and no, that's not a good thing. Recalling events from this movie also made my brain physically palpitate in pain. This is also not good if you didn't guess. I'm not even being hyperbolic. The more I tried to remember everything that happened in this 2-hour mess, the worse my headache got. It's kind of impossible to really even discuss this movie without spending way too much time on it. The entire thing kind of feels like a run-on sentence where there's a clear sequence of events, but they don't necessarily feel like they relate to the next event, or they're not directed in a way that it feels like it should. It just feels like a bunch of things kind of happen in sequence, the movie. It's kind of like True Stories, except I like that movie, and I would recommend you watch that. Don't watch this, though. Oh, shit, I spoiled my recommendation. You know, there's so much that happened in this movie that they could have just outright omitted, and it's not like they were running low on running time, so it's not like they were trying to pad it out, I mean. The movie's 2 hours long. Although that's sort of the standard for most Indian movies, it's still 2 hours removed from my life. So an exorcist with a magic papier-mâché fork messes up on an exorcism pretty bad, and his whole family dies. So he then gets committed to an insane asylum instead of the death sentence. Then the main character lady shows her husband how dangerous driving fast is by driving so fast that she fucking murders a different couple on the same road and then doesn't go to prison, I guess. Then the couple moves into a haunted house and spooky things happen. She's scared that she's crazy, or the husband's scared that she's crazy, so they soothe her mind by showing her an erotic dance in the dusty outdoors, and oh my god, I cannot believe I forgot about that first music number. This came on to me like the premonition of a nightmare, except it already happened, so I guess it's not a premonition. Anyways, as soon as they moved into the house, their friends kind of show up for, I think, one scene, and then one of them's like, hey, wait, what day is it supposed to be? And then someone else is like, oh, it's Saturday night. And then they all scream, Saturday night, party all night. And then it just segues into the worst attempt at a party music video I've ever seen in my entire life.
Saturday night, party all night. Everybody's feeling alright, hit the bar to get tight. Yes, Saturday night.
It looked like it was shot in the flying saucer from Killer Clowns. Also, let me just see what lyrics we got here. Okay, from what I remember, there's let's get high, let's burn down the dance floor, I don't care if the world knows that I am high, we need to party all night because it's Saturday. For some reason, also, it has the same rhythm as the Superdog music video in some of these parts.
Don't see it all, don't kill us all, don't murder us with your furry paws.
Oh, and I guess other stuff happens too. Near the end of the movie, the exorcist returns with his magic fork and saves the day, and yeah, that's it. I'm sorry I spent so long on this movie. There really is no way to have any discussion about it without spending this much time. And worst of all, it's not like I can recommend it. As I said before, it's a 2-hour mess. But I don't know, if you're really bored and just like seeing something that just doesn't feel like a movie at all, I guess you can watch it. 3.4 out of 10, because why not? Number 103 is Mad Ron's Previews from Hell. So, first thing I need to say is this isn't a movie. I'm just gonna go ahead and get that out of the way. This is literally, as it says, a bunch of really old horror movie previews and trailers played in succession, interspersed with fun and cheesy zombies going to the theaters as a frame story, which isn't really much of a story, it's just something to break up the trailers. I'm going to give a very specific recommendation for this. This is a great thing to watch while you're doing some sort of work, or maybe in the background for something like a Halloween party, but maybe not like a kiddie Halloween party, because there are a few boobs in it. So yeah, just don't have children there, I guess. Unless they like boobs, I guess that's fine. I certainly enjoyed it. It was a fun, nice break from the flood of shit that inundated me so far. So I'm thankful that this movie was on the list. But yeah, I like these sort of things. So if you like cheesy B-movie stuffs and very bite-sized segments, then I think this is perfect for you. But no, I can't even give it a rating. It's just it is what it is. I just realized I probably didn't make this disclaimer because YouTube is really stupid. I do not support letting children watch boob-filled movies. That was a joke, YouTube. Do not banish me to the Shadow Realm. Or kill me like it was in the original Japanese. Number 104 is Malevolent. I don't have much to say about this one either, to be honest. I saw this a long time ago and I didn't really bother rewatching it because I already got the point of it and I already knew everything that happened, which I guess breaks my rule for good bad movies, because this is not a good movie, but it's also inoffensive. The premise is neat, I suppose. Basically, a brother and sister run a scam where the girl pretends to be a medium and sees ghosts to con people out of their money. And then one day, they get a real high-profile job. They get asked to stop the girls from screaming at an old mansion from a creepy old lady. And then the plot happens. The house is freaky, the main character girl actually starts seeing ghosts, and spoilers from here, I guess. The movie takes a hard left turn, and it turns out that the old lady had murdered a girl at this boarding house and sewed their mouths shut, and that's why they were being so loud, which I guess is fair in hindsight. They discovered this in an old murder basement, and there the old lady proceeds to tie them both down. She murders the brother, and then the sister gets help from the Casper crew to scream at the old lady long enough to distract her and then kill her. Girl escapes with the camera guy, and then the end. The last twist is kind of neat, but everything else is pretty forgettable. It's another one of those situations where I felt like this could have been like a creep show or Goosebumps. Maybe it's a bit too visual for Goosebumps, but you know, the entire movie just kind of hinges on that twist. And in that case, you know, maybe it shouldn't have been this long of a movie. Again, I always support the idea of just having 1 hour flicks or even like 45-minute flicks, because sometimes there's not enough movie for this sort of story. I can't really recommend anybody spending time watching this, but at the same time, maybe other people can get into it. This really just kind of depends on how you feel about this sort of twist. 4.8 out of 10? Sure. Number 105 on our list is Malicious. This was a weird fucking movie. It keeps doing a lot of things that are so obvious that you feel like, okay, this has to be a twist or a setup for something else, but then it's just completely played straight. One thing to get out right now is the awful dialogue and line delivery. It's shit that I don't think even the best actors or actresses could have saved, to be honest.
No wonder they hired you to teach math.
I thought it was because of my incredible charm and my devilish handsome good looks.
That's why I married you and let you knock me up.
Anyways, the wife is incredibly pregnant, and then her crazy hipster hippie sister shows up with some sort of magic box that she thought would be a good idea to buy from some garage sale on the side of the road. I think they call it like a fertility box. I don't think they explain how that even works, but she just calls it a fertility box. Then the box, as you might expect, ends up being haunted, and then the wife suffers a miscarriage. The wife starts seeing things, and then Morpheus shows up to explain that there's ghost shit going on with the box. Turns out some demon or ghost or something was kept locked inside, and it possessed the wife's fetus and then killed it, causing a ghost demon baby to grow at an incredibly fast rate, and then they gotta stop it. Now, you would think that Morpheus here would end up doing more with the movie, but he just ends up having hardly anything to do with the plot after this. So the husband learns that what the last guy did to stop the ghost baby was to basically murder the wife which it was tethered to, and that was just the opening scene of the movie. So going by film logic, you would expect that the script would try to find some clever workaround or way of not killing the wife and having the husband sent to the psychiatric ward like what happened to the last guy, because that's just doing the same thing again. Why would you do that? But no, the movie just plays exactly how it's presented, completely straight. He kills the wife, gets sent to a psych ward, and then Morpheus shows up again and asks what he did with the box, and he said, "I took care of it. I sent it back to where it came from." And then the movie ends with the box being sent to the dipshit sister who doomed them in the first place. Although the problem with this is, to our knowledge, she isn't pregnant, so this revenge hinges entirely on the sister getting pregnant and then opening the box at the exact same time that she happens to be pregnant. I know I'm pretty much just explaining the entire plot, but like that first movie on the list, I don't know how else to explain this movie or how else to explain why it befuddled me by being so straight to the point. If you couldn't guess, 4 out of 10, no, do not watch this. Okay, quick update. I just went back and watched the ending of the movie. No, yeah, it turned out she was pregnant. I don't care. Whatever. Same deal. Screw it. Number 106 is Mara. Good lord, this list so far on this letter is holding the record for movies I just can hardly remember after immediately watching. And anyways, to quickly sum this movie up, it's just a much more boring and an interesting Nightmare on Elm Street. This movie focuses on a sleep paralysis demon named Mara that slowly terrorizes you each time you sleep, until your eyes are completely red, and then she mangles your body like an action figure, which is admittedly actually kind of freaky the first few times you see it. It's just completely uninspired, or maybe over-inspired? Is that the word? I get those meanings mixed up, and it's just forgettable. There's a lot you could have done with the sleep paralysis angle, and they just kind of really didn't do much about it. I mean, like, if you know anything about sleep paralysis, it's basically like, a few of you probably experienced it. It's when your brain's awake, but your body is still asleep. And so, but your brain's still in kind of like a dream state. So you start seeing all this really weird, horrifying, there's a whole like a trend, or not trend, but there's a whole like section of art about it called like sleep paralysis demons. And they all look really terrifying, where it's just like people's rendition of like really weird otherworldly shit they see whenever they're in sleep paralysis. And no, here it's just, creepy lady. I want to briefly bring up this scene that pissed me off to no end, however. It's kind of the only thing I really remembered. At some point, the main character finally believes that Mara is real, and then she goes to meet the supposed crazy guy at the beginning of the movie who is claiming he was real the whole time. And, or claiming that she was real the whole time. You know, all these movies have this sort of guy. The guy then proceeds to exposition dump the entire lore, the point, the motivation, and what Mara is to her. And then the main character goes, "This is crazy. This is not real. Why are you telling me this? I wasted my time. If you think this is all bullshit, then what was the point of even showing up to this guy's house and then wasting his time? It's completely baffling." A 4 out of 10 as well for this. Mara and Malicious kind of occupy the same space in my brain. Just watch Nightmare on Elm Street. You'll probably have to pay for it, but at least that's a movie that's interesting, has rules, and it follows them, and it really makes it feel like there's an imminent threat. This movie doesn't really do any of that. It's just really dumb. Number 107 is May the Devil Take You. This is an Indonesian film, and it's the best Evil Dead remake since the Evil Dead remake. Not even entirely joking here. Of course, this is not an Evil Dead remake, but there's a lot of similarities that you can kind of draw and take from it. The basic plot is that the father made a deal with the devil and his witch secretary to become rich, and then eventually time came to pay up. He dies a gross and black vomity death in a hospital, but it don't end there. His estranged daughter, well, his first estranged daughter, and then his second comfy family both go to his big old house in the woods to claim whatever needs to be claimed, and then a deadite emerges from the basement and starts terrorizing the whole family. I don't want to spoil too much about this movie. I guess I'll just list some good points really quick. You really appreciate the characterization of the family. It's a bit cartoony at points, but I mean, you kind of need it to be exaggerated in these sort of movies, and then just kind of, you can build it from there. But I really like the main character, and then the sympathetic male cousin. And I guess the flaws and good points of this movie are also kind of the same as the original Evil Dead. The demon / witch could have killed the family multiple times, but decided to just terrorize them instead. I mean, you could argue that the point was to get the family members to be their own end first or submit to, like, the devil. And if you watch that, then I guess that makes a bit more sense. And the scares are really well done, along with the other weird horror imagery. The shaky cam did get a bit too much in one sequence, but overall it didn't bother me. I want to point this out. There was one moment that actually made me cringe and like made me want to turn away from the screen. It's like a physical reaction I haven't had since I watched a horror movie when I was a kid. It was really, really unsettling, and I'm not gonna forget it. It's ultimately an okay or passable script, elevated by good directing / filmmaking. So keep that in mind if you're looking for a strong story. I would highly recommend this. 7.8 out of 10. It's movies like this that kind of keep me going on this mad hunt through Netflix to find hidden gems. Because, yeah, I would have never seen this movie otherwise. I am glad that I was able to get to this. And I think you'll like it too. Number 108 is Medium. I'm a little bit sad about how this one turned out. This was a Polish movie from the 1980s. It looks nice and pretty. It's shot on film. The sets and actors are nice, but the movie's lame. The idea is cool though. It's about a medium who is psychically guiding various seemingly unrelated characters to a house to reenact something, and a cop and his partner, who is a Nazi, try to figure out what's going on and stop it. The rest of this is spoilers, but I'm just going to go ahead and say you're probably not going to like it unless you like these kind of slow 80s foreign movies that are boring. The psychic has discovered the secret to immortality. You simply find a point in time where you were younger, the exact same place, and somehow the exact people who are at that same age, and have them reenact whatever happened to occur, and your own self will accommodate and will revert to repeat these events, and you'll basically be taken back to whatever state you were during these events. And these events happen to involve everyone but the medium getting murdered. No, it doesn't really make sense, but it's just something you have to accept if you're going to watch this kind of movie. Like I mentioned in the beginning, there is some nice imagery here and there. There is a psychic's obsession with the turtles, which of course is related to longevity because those damn reptiles will outlast any human. but the movie just doesn't really go anywhere super interesting, at least not to me. There's a few of like, oh, okay, I see what's going on moments, but they're so mild that it's just kind of like a, instead of like a firework. And the movie just kind of becomes boring, again, to me because of it. The movie also goes exactly where it sets itself up to go. No real twist or turn, despite a lot of reviews I said. I didn't really see very many twists or turns in this movie. This movie is just events that you expect to happen because that's what the movies say will happen, although it's less weird than that first movie I discussed today, Fish Queen in the Water, if that makes sense. No, I guess I can't really recommend it. It's pretty, at least. I like the characters and directing, but the script just gave it all nothing to really do. I think some people out there will like it for the crime thriller aspects, but the crime thriller parts were just really unnecessary. 5 out of 10. It was whatever, but if you really want a good crime thriller horror slow burn that is fantastic, I've recommended it a million times now. Exorcist 3, Legion. You don't need to see the prior movie. Just, that was a marketing gimmick because people were scared and nobody would go see it. Just go watch it, please. Oh, but I'm talking about The Exorcist, not this. Number 109, Mercy Black. History lesson time that everyone already knows. So, a few years ago, a really terrible idea came out called Slender. Now, if you know anything about the legend of Slender Man, then you know that it's basically a shitty horror game that was made in Unity based off some Photoshop threads. Oh, and then it became a cultural phenomenon or something. Anyway, some girls took it way too seriously, and then lured their friend out into the woods, and then they stabbed her 19 times and left her to die because Slender Man, you know, a fictional lanky man from a video game with potato graphics, said girl managed to survive like a badass. She crawled herself out of the woods and got help. She went back to school, and the two psychopathic girls were ruled mentally incompetent. Now, some assholes thought it'd be a good idea to make a movie based off of this, and then that's how you got Slender. And then the uproar behind it was, you know, it was pretty reasonable. They ended up having to cut a lot of the stuff shown in trailers, so the movie was apparently a bland mess that no one liked. Hell, they even refused to show it in the theaters near where the event happened, which, again, I'm not surprised and I completely understand. Anyways, that brings us to this. Mercy Black is basically a different take on doing a Slender movie. It's still a terrible idea, but the bones of the story aren't actually bad. Instead of it outright being Slender Man, it's something called Mercy Black. One thing I liked was that for a while I wasn't really sure if the entity was supposed to be real or a figment, but I guess that's kind of the point of the movie. This movie is more heavily based on the events of the stabbing from the perspective of one of the girls who lured the victim out in order to sacrifice her to bring Mercy Black to life. Although I will say it somehow feels a little bit more respectful, but it still feels disgusting. Anyways, going back to the movie, the girl who lured the victim out, the main character, she's out of the mental hospital now, and now she's all better. Although she can't remember much of the events. Then there's weird shit that starts happening all over again, killings and spooky haunting type shit, you know, the usual for these sort of movies. Also, I want to quickly bring up, the dialogue is really fucking awkward. There's a scene in the beginning with Janine Garofalo that sounds like something from The Room. So she's staying with her sister and nephew, and then the nephew gets more and more engrossed in the story of Mercy Black, as it has now become some phenomenon like Slender Man, basically, with stupid photoshopped images online and creepypastas and stuff. The nephew eventually starts falling under Mercy Black's influence, and at this point in the movie, again, we don't know if she's real or not. And this is sort of ambiguous for the whole movie, most of the movie. The main character, meanwhile, tries to unravel what actually happened that night the stabbing occurred to determine whether or not the Mercy Black creature was actually make-believe. Okay, I need to make myself clear now. No, this wasn't good. I'm making it sound like this was somewhat interesting. No, it's not. It's not very good. It was very mildly interesting. Like I said before, it felt really gross and exploitative of the events, and they got really, really stupid towards the end. Spoilers from here. It turns out Mercy Black was real. Kinda. She starts flying around like on a suspended wire and chasing after the main character in a bomb shelter. It reminds me of that really bad Bela Lugosi movie that no one saw called The Devil Bat. The baby nephew boy child was abducted by the killer, who pretended to be Mercy Black the whole time. And by the way, it turns out that the killer here was the original victim in the events. It turned out that the victim was actually a willing sacrifice who wanted the job to be finished. She wanted to be sacrificed the whole time, and now she's doing this to finish the job. So they stop her from killing them, and as the main character is about to give her clemency, since she just wanted to be killed the whole time, the baby boy stabs the killer in the eye to bring Mercy back to life. Or Mercy Black back to life. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to say. And then the movie ends. The movie as a whole is pretty uninteresting except for a few details. Really, it's the background and the idea of it that's more interesting to talk about, and that's why I spent so long on this movie. As a final word regarding this, internet things should stay on the internet. Like, this isn't just with creepypastas. As soon as you put a meme or a creepypasta, I hate even saying these words, as soon as you put those outside of their original context, they become utterly laughable or horribly embarrassing. Yeah, rating, 4.7 out of 10. I wouldn't really recommend it. I guess you can watch Marble Hornets. I haven't seen that yet, but I think that's supposed to be the most interesting video thing that ever came out of Slenderman, and that was before the video game, I think. I believe it's on YouTube. I will show the channel name here. Alright, number 110, and this movie is the reason why I'm only doing one letter for this video as well. Mythily Veendum Varunu, another Malayalam movie. Now, by the way, because of that, because of Lech Me, I was on the fucking watch for this one. It's been a long time since I found another movie for the baffling category. So this was going to be a real ride, and I knew I wouldn't be able to capture all my thoughts if I didn't immediately write them down. So I took quick notes as I watched, and here's what we have. 5-minute Marvel credit sequence. Shot on camcorder. Music video. Praying to St. Mary? A Heiling Hitler romantic scenery randomly stops at a bank? Betrays her immediately as the song is over? Prostitution to sell light bulbs?
ലൈറ്റ് ഇട്ട് കൊടുത്ത മുഴുവൻ എടുത്തോളാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. ഞാനതങ്ങ് ഇട്ട് കൊടുത്തു.
കിടന്നു കൊടുത്തു എന്ന് പറ.
അതെ, അത് തന്നെ. കാക്കയുടെ വിശപ്പ് മാറി പശുവിന്റെ കടിയും തീർന്നു. അഡീഷണൽ ആയിട്ട് 1500 രൂപയും കിട്ടി.
Selling light bulbs door to door? Teleporting elder Indian women? Bitch, why are you sleeping there? CG superimposed tombs made in 5 minutes in Blender. Music number with no segue and in no way advances the plot. Sexual predator Indian warrior. Oh my god, no, he's a rapist. She won lots of awards? No specific awards, just awards. Why do they need 6 people for a one-on-one interview? Why does this guy get a musical number? Wait, what? What happened? What happened? First thing I need to explain. Almost everything is ADR'd. I'm almost certain of it. Now, if you don't know what ADR means, ADRing, it's basically an acronym for automated dialogue replacement. I'm just reading it here from Wikipedia. It's the process of re-recording dialogue by the original actor or replacement actor after the filming process to improve audio quality or reflect dialogue changes. A lot of movies sometimes do this if there's like they need to include like a throwaway line as to like why maybe they're going down a certain direction. Like, oh, like maybe they just ran down this one path and there's no reason for it, so they just ADR in, oh, she went this way. Like, that's the reason for it. Or, if it's like they just need a bit of dialogue and the movie's already finished. You don't use it for the entire movie. Okay, now, I cannot confirm that they ADR'd absolutely everything, but it's the only way the audio in this movie makes sense. Nothing is mixed right. Multiple characters will be in the same room, and you can hear each of their individual conversations at the same volume, and it's a fucking headache. Again, because nothing was mixed correctly, you hear every single grunt these characters make. I don't even know how to explain this movie. Nothing makes sense or flows together. Our main character, Mythily, that's how you pronounce it. I didn't know until I watched it. She sells light bulbs door to door, and she is told by her new boss, sexual predator Wario, which isn't revealed he's a sexual predator yet, so he's just a warrior right now, to go to a mansion in the middle of the night and complete a light bulb order to deliver and replace the bulbs there. Oh shit, that's out of order. You're gonna have to bear with me. It's like Pulp Fiction, except the sequence of events don't make any sense, and it's not done for artistic reasons. Before that happens, she briefly meets eyes with a gross, hairy adult version of a garbage pail kid. Oh, and by the way, there's a really bad digital zoom here because the director didn't know how to shoot the scene, or the cameraman didn't know how to operate the zoom, and it turns out they were lovers? There's a really random musical number with these two, involving all this romantic imagery, and then they randomly insert a scene where the guy stops and goes into a bank, and Mythily just awkwardly waits outside for him to get his money, and then it's on to another romantic series of imagery. Now, I'm wondering if maybe the actor actually had to go to the bank during the shoot, and the cameraman just didn't realize it, and they just kept filming anyways, and then at the end they were like, oh shit, whatever, we'll just keep it. It's so out of place. There's so many bizarre, confounding choices in this movie. I would be here forever if I kept harping on each one. As soon as the music number is over, the guy immediately leaves her after impregnating her because this other marriage offer came through and they're going to give him a car and... A bunch of pirates gold? Oh wait, no, the sequence is still wrong. This is either after or during or before she went to the spooky house for her boss. I literally can't. I hate that white girl phrase. I literally can't. The confusion I got from this beats out Aviri, and that's a tall order. If you want to have an MST3K session with friends, I would suggest watching this movie. I couldn't tear my eyes away. I was supposed to be animating while I was watching this, but no, every time I looked away, I just missed something, and my eyes were glued, and my jaw was on the floor the entire time. I guess like Aviri, 2 out of 10 for actual quality, but 10 out of 10 for enjoyment. It's pointless rating movies like these. You either like terrible movies for fun, or you just can't stand them. One quick thing I'll give this movie was actually pretty short. I think it was like an hour 25 or an hour 30. That's gracefully short for this sort of movie. In fact, out of all the baffling movies on the list, I would recommend this one the most because it's the easiest of entry despite being foreign, because it's short. Okay, that's gonna do it for this list. I apologize that this is one letter. I've actually got a bunch more movies I could have talked about, but this video's already way too damn long. Alright, gonna give a round of disappointing but not damning news for the rest of the month. To be clear, I am still finishing the series. Again, don't worry about that. I'm this damn far in. I've waited through enough subcontinental garbage. I'm not gonna be done now. But basically, yeah, for the rest of the month of October, I'm going to have to go on a brief hiatus. I know I've already been really inconsistent, but this is because of a pretty time-sensitive project that needs to be done before the end of the month. And I'm just gonna do what I can to power through and get it all done. So, at least you've got that to look forward to. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if I'll make it in time. But if that happens, I'll just upload it in December because Nightmare Before Christmas happened, and that kind of merged spookiness and holiday cheer together into a joyful mismatch for years to come. Okay, alright, bye.